and gentlemen.
You are now tuned in to Mastering Mitzvahs. Mastering Mitzvahs. A podcast focused on creating the perfect bar and bat mitzvah celebration, offering tips, tricks, and trends to ensure an amazing event. Mastering Mitzvahs. From New Jersey's own Explosive Entertainment. Explosive Entertainment.
I know you're gonna dig this.
And here they are, your hosts, Dylan Weissman and Mike Langzer.
Dylan, let's see if we remember how to do this. It's been almost 3 months, I think, since our last podcast.
Well, it's summertime sadness, and it's over now, and we're in the thick of mitzvah season. It's Mike, actually today we're recording this the 30th of September, and this is the 15th or 16th anniversary of my bar mitzvah.
No way, really?
How long ago was 2006? Because that's when it was.
Well, first off, that shows how young you are.
Yeah.
And 15th or 16th anniversary. Well, your math isn't great, but
No, my math isn't great.
Congratulations, mazel tov, as they would say.
Yeah.
How's it feel to be a bar mitzvah 16 years later?
Yeah, are you asking me all these years later?
Yes.
You know, it's actually funny. Noah's going, my daughter's going to Hebrew school now, and I keep thinking like back to my Hebrew school days, and it's just like, it's cool. There's some pride behind that. And I was talking with someone earlier today who's planning a very, very, very low key bat mitzvah for her daughter, and the magnitude is still the same. Whether you're spending $100,000 or $1,000, the magnitude of the accomplishment of becoming a bar or a bat mitzvah is the same across the board. And I think that's what makes this type of celebration really special.
All right. So this is totally unplanned and unscripted, but you just set me up for the perfect lead into this podcast, which is how to be a great mitzvah parent. So I'm going to throw the ball in your court and say, do you remember as a bar mitzvah boy, 15, 16 years ago, what your parents did that was exceptional or maybe like, were you a little embarrassed? And the second piece of this conversation is, what are you going to do? Maybe I should table that, but what are you going to do in 10 years when your daughter is celebrating hers? So this podcast might be a little bit more about you than about our clientele that we're talking about.
I definitely don't want that, but I can say that something that my parents did when I was becoming a bar mitzvah that I see a lot translated now is that they didn't sweat the small stuff. That was something that they just did the whole way through. They weren't like overwhelmed with the little mini details. Like they just kind of knew that if you celebrate for the right reasons and you come into this with, good intentions, and you're not doing it for any other reason than to celebrate your kid, which I think is what they did. They didn't sweat the small stuff. And I remember like vividly watching my parents do like big decision making, but when it came to the little stuff, they let me take over, or they just let it be and they hired the right vendors to just handle it.
I love that. All right. So let in no particular order, there's not literally a scripted list of things that we want to talk about, but how to be a great mitzvah parent. I hope this is one of our most viewed podcasts. I think that this topic is so real and so true. So why
did you think about this, Mike? Like what when you texted me, hey, I have a great podcast topic, what made you think this is something we need to share?
Well, two reasons. One, I see some parents that are just so exceptional there's the planning phase and there's the day of phase. And some parents are exceptional at all of that. Some parents are exceptional at either one or the other. And then, there's the parents that are not good at either one or the other. And the day of, maybe they're like a train wreck, or, they hinder their own party. So let's kind of go down a bullet list of things to do to be a great parent, and maybe some things to shy away from. And let's see how we do off the cuff here. But and if you don't mind, I'm going to start by echoing what you just said, and don't sweat the small stuff, especially the day of. This weekend there was a party that was getting set up, and there was a height issue. The decorator was trying to hang the balloons and the banner, and it just wasn't meshing exactly right. And the mom walked in and she goes, "Don't worry about it. It's okay." Like, and the decorator, I was so impressed, took such pride as if it was her own party. It's like, no, it's not right. This was the vision. It had to be like this. And the mom says, it is what it is. It's okay. Like, she realized the height of the balloons was not going to make or break or impact the flow of her party in any regards. And kudos to mom for letting that go. And that's an example of a, let's just call it a small thing that you could look past.
I think that it's important to understand that, like, you should take pride in your celebration, but when it comes to like the week of, if you try to make changes or try to like really dig your heels into one thing or another, it could add a lot of extra stress to you, which could translate negatively to your celebration. So by not sweating the small stuff, I think is a nice little like reminder, like, hey, we're doing this for the right reasons. We're coming at this from the right approach and the mindset. And what it's going to be is it's going to be great because we did right by our kid. We did right by them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is my first tip is do right by your kid. We've said it like 100 million times on this, but to be the best mitzvah parent, especially the day of, you should be planning the event that's right for them. And if that means loud and lots of lighting and lots of, production and staging and motivators, then do that. Lean into it. Or if it's a lot of games and contests and, activation stations, then do that. If it's a quiet afternoon lunch at your home, then do that. Because
let me piggyback and intercept here for a quick second. What you just said makes such true sense, but you have to then invite the right people for that formula of success. If you're making an invite list that is so heavily surrounded by the adults, but you do let your child dictate the music or the timeline or how many games, then you're setting yourself a little bit up for failure. Like, ask yourself, is the party for kids or adults? Then invite accordingly. Then program everything else, lighting, volume, music selection, timeline around that. Because we do see all too often a party that sometimes might be viewed by the adults as not a good party, but it was really viewed by the kids as a stellar party. Let's just face it, a 13-year-old has different interests as a 43-year-old.
Yeah. Let's flip the script a little bit because you're right there and know who the party's for. And that doesn't mean that they can't be for both. It just means you got to convey that message appropriately. I want to flip the script a little bit and give you another tip here, Mike, that is independent from that. And it is, let your guests come to you. You have no obligation to visit anybody. They should be coming to you. I see it too often where like there's a bunch of political invites, like people you work with or like grandma's friend that you once knew at one point growing up. Like, you do not have to visit anybody. This is you are as a much a part of this guest of honor package as your kid is. I'm talking directly to you. You don't owe it to anybody to go and talk to them. They can come to you, but you should be celebrating the party the way that you want to, which leads me into one of my biggest and best tips is you should be doing the type of party that you want others to be having. So if you want people enjoying the food, you should be eating the food yourself. If you want people, partying on the dance floor, you should be on the, dancing yourself, and people will come to you. You have no obligation to go to anybody else.
I like that. Be a guest. We often say, be a guest at your own party, but you just nailed it. Eat the food, dance on the dance floor. And actually, my tip was going to be about dancing, so I'm just going to jump right into it. Some families are dancers. Like the parents love to dance. Be out there, celebrate, because you lead by example, and your friends will follow in the same energy that you're putting off. Yeah. Now, if you're not a dancer, that's okay too. But be present at the party. Be involved. Dancing doesn't necessarily mean doing the wildest crazy moves, but be on the dance floor. Be visible. Be involved. I can't stress the importance of that. And maybe this is another tip, but I'm going to kind of piggyback it. Don't be drunk. Don't be wasted.
That was my next one.
Have some drinks, enjoy, but don't take it to the point where you are a mess and you miss part of your party. And we've seen that before. We've seen parents get sick and like miss part of their own party, and you will never forgive yourself for that action.
Yeah, it's really, really important. Like I want my families to enjoy all of the makings of their celebration, including the open bar that comes with most events. But you need to keep it together a little bit longer than anybody else.
Mhm.
Because of that reason, you are the best representation of your celebration to your kid, and you don't want to be missing, that opportunity. Which leads me to another point. Prepare. Excuse me, my dog decided that he wants to talk about this stuff too.
We
You should be
could talk about
prepared.
involvement of animals. We've seen that as well at some parties.
Leave your animals at home. Leave your animals at home.
So that
Uh,
that's a tip number 5. Leave your animal at home.
No, what I was saying, Mike, is be prepared. In other words, write your speech out ahead of time, print it out, like bring the change of shoes that you need or extra socks that you want to wear, or whatever be prepared means to you for your celebration. You should be doing that. One of my most iconic was a very, very energetic, excited dad brought his own sweat towel because he knew that he would be sweating. So he brought it onto the dance floor himself. And that's just being prepared. He knew what type of party he was going to have.
That's awesome. Here's one that doesn't fit all families but needs to be mentioned is if you have troubles at home or if you're divorced or in the process of divorcing, leave that baggage at home. Do not bring it to the party. Do not show it in any way it's obvious sometimes that some families make it happen and make it work, and then there's sometimes that it's not good. I could think of a party recently that there was such distaste between the families that it was visible. It was a problem at the party, and I even saw before the party during the photo shoot, the bar mitzvah boy troubled by what he was witnessing. So leave that garbage at home.
Yeah, I hate when I see it too. And look, it's a part of life. We're not naive to think that there's not family drama somewhere, but you should do everything you can to keep that away from that, 5 to 10 hours of that celebration period.
Mhm.
Your kid will notice, period.
And
And
so
if
will the
you're doing
guests.
this for well, so will your guests, but they will notice. And you want that will affect your vibe.
You don't want the guests taking sides. Like once you walk into the party, it's neutral. It is a party atmosphere, and it needs to be kept that way. So that is definitely a tip. To be a best parent is be a parent more than a spouse that day. Like, if there's drama at home, leave it at home.
Yep. Mike, we're going kind of all over the place here. And I think another one that we can do here is get the proper rest that's needed. I started mentioning it earlier and then we got sidetracked, but the week of your celebration, there's lots to do. I get it. There's final I's to dot and T's to cross, and everyone needs to get paid and all of it. But if you do the right amount of planning about 21 days prior to your celebration, the last 7, there's not anything groundbreaking that's going to happen at that point. So try to get your, rest you need, because it's going to be a long weekend. Most families are starting it, Friday night with services, and then they have their Saturday party, and then a lot of them are doing Sunday brunch. It wears on you. So if you can find a way to have that proper rest beforehand, one of my favorite tips that I've heard was that they actually did a spa day like the Thursday or something before. And that was nice. That's nice. I mean, it's like getting the celebration started early in the right ways. I think that's cool.
I see some families that take vacation afterwards. Like I commend them financially on being able to do that.
It's like a honeymoon.
Yeah, but like the stress of planning this and then the emotion that goes into it. How great is it to like do a mitzvah moon? Let's call it a mitzvah moon. Let's term that or coin that term.
A whole new industry has just been formed. A mitzvah.
My gosh.
Um,
But Dylan, I was going to actually use the reverse of that. Like you're saying, be prepared. I agree with that. Take a day or two before the party off from work to relax, but also to deal with the fine finite last minute items. There's nothing more frustrating to us than, families that haven't finished their forms the day before a party, haven't finished their montages. And truthfully, we feel bad for them. Like we feel bad that we're hounding you. Hey, we know it's last minute. We know you're busy, but we need this stuff. Like, gosh, I hate making those phone calls because, they say, listen, I still have to go to work on Friday. I still have to do this. I still have to do that. We get it. But like the success of your party relies on these things being completed. So please plan accordingly and take the day or two before the party off from work. Be prepared, dot the I's, cross the T's.
So if I were to put it in order of what I've heard in the last 15 minutes or so, I think it starts with being prepared in the planning process and then also knowing that you have to be prepared at the actual event. Doing all the right dotting of I's and crossing of T's, making sure that you have all of your montage and forms filled out and, your menu is all set the way that it's supposed to be and you've given payment to all the people that need to get paid. Then when it comes to like a couple days beforehand, you should be in total Zen mode at that point. Like give yourself that break, give yourself that beat, let yourself breathe a little bit. If you can afford it, take the time off from work, like whatever you need to do to get your head on right, because it's going to be like a marathon, but also run at a sprinting pace. It's a marathon in length, but at a sprinter's pace. And that's a hard thing to do when it comes to the week of or the weekend of. Then when you get there, Mike, it comes down to you should be having the party that you want everyone else to have. So eat the food, drink the drink, be on the dance floor if that's what you're looking for. But don't feel like you have to be obligated to visit anybody, talk to anybody. This is your celebration as much as it is anyone else. So celebrate in the way that you want to. You owe it to no one to do anything else. Like it?
Well done, man. You just ChatGPT'd that thing and summarized it in moment's notice. Well done.
Cool.
I think this is a good episode. There's probably a lot more that we could talk about. But I think most of it really is obvious. Just the preparation and like the calm factor, the Zen factor, like just realize this is a celebration. And there's no redos. So go into it with the right attitude because there are no makeups from it. Like just celebrate, enjoy, and live it up. It's a incredible day, as 16 years ago in your life. You'll never forget it.
Did we do the math yet on that?
Did you just grab a calculator? I feel like you just did.
Oh yeah.
Like your kid will remember that day forever. Your friends will remember it. Like be that shining star that you want to be for that lasting memory.
Yeah. By the way, Mike, it's 18 years ago.
Congratulations.
There you go. 18 years ago, I became a bar mitzvah today. And I get to be bar mitzvah every single
years
weekend.
From now, maybe you'll be able to do basic math.
Maybe. Don't count on it. That's Mike. I'm Dylan. This is Mastering Mitzvahs, Explosive Entertainment, xeevents.com. We'll check you guys later.